Repeatedly described as creative, the awards won with her photographs prove her skill and passion for photography. In the words of Hilda Corning-Corkum, she was just so special and spectacular. We all loved her. Doritt Horton was one of the first female photographers of Yarmouth. Born in 1884 to her parents Horatio N. and Sarah Forsyth Corning, she died at the age of 67 in 1951. She pursued her ambitions in photography, where she received formal art training in Boston under Chalmers C. Murray, who was considered a well-known portrait artist. She moved back to Yarmouth after her education and married Stanley Horton. They lived on the corner of Collins and 2nd Street. Doritt Horton worked from her house, where her studio and darkroom were located. Portraits were taken in her studio/living room, and later developed in the basement where the darkroom was located. Her equipment was not up to date, and instead of using a timer, Dorrit would count aloud while the negatives were developing. A majority of the photographs that Dorrit took were portraits, and they have a quality that identifies them immediately as hers. She mainly stuck to black and white photography, but also dabbled in pen and ink sketches, oil paintings, and watercolors. The Yarmouth County Museum hosted an exhibit featuring many of Dorrit's works. The exhibit was opened on August 10, 1994, and remained on display until mid-September of that year. It contained many of her photographs, most of which were portraits of Yarmouth people. Horton's niece, Hilda Corkum, shared with the exhibit that she, Dorrit, surrounded herself with beautiful things, as they all stood surrounded by the modest collection of the photographer's work. Family members, which mostly consisted of nieces and nephews, shared their memories of Doritt Horton with the exhibit's audience. Through their stories, the attendees learned that Horton loved to experiment with different techniques in her photography, and she enjoyed hosting grand parties. Mr. and Mrs. Horton's home was a welcoming place for visitors from all around the world, and was especially a gathering place for writers, musicians, and artists. Written in a letter from Dorrit's niece, Betty Corning West, she expressed her love of her late aunt. As to her character, there has never been anyone quite like her. She gave everything away as soon as it was given to her, and collected people like some people collect art. I truly miss her.